Hi, I'm Lauren Edmunds. I'm the founder and owner of a school that supports children with learning delays. I'm hoping the space gives you something to think about. I want to talk about what happens when you build skill in your children, whether you're a parent or a teacher. The building of skill is exactly in the power of the building part, not just the giving of a skill or the modeling of a skill. It's all of that combined and the opportunity to practice. So one of the things you can do, let's say we're talking about the 3-step model of saying no. You explain it to your child and you give them a script. Or you talk to a script and you get them to come up in their language what they would say. So you say, okay, tell me, my son or my daughter, the last time somebody asked you to do something that you didn't want to do. And if they can't think of something, you can say, well, what about Gran? Gran wanted you to, I don't know, come and visit and you didn't want to. Or I wanted you to do your homework and you didn't want to. Let's use an example. It would be lovely if they had a real example from school that they're struggling with, because it would make it more real. But it's just as real to say no to doing homework, right? Not that we want that, but it's a good example. Or it's something that kids can relate to. So you say to your kid, okay, I'm saying, hey, my love, I need you to do your homework now. So now step number 1 is you restate it to me. So you get them to say to you, hey, Mom, you telling me you want me to do my homework now? Great. That's great. You said that beautifully. Can you say it another way? Let's say they can't. Or you might go, okay, you could say, you want me to do my homework now? And you get them to play with different intonations and different words. And you get them to practice that step 1. And then you say, oh, fantastic. You are brilliant at restating what I've just asked you to do that you don't want to do. Step 2 is I want you to say no. So the first thing you're going to do to me is just say no. No, Mom. You try that. And they say, no, Mom. Oh, well done. Brilliant. See, you can say that word. Now I want you to say, no, thank you, Mom. And they practice, no, thank you, Mom. And now I want you to say it a different way, and then get them to say it a different way. So now what they're doing is they're practicing, they're getting no to be something that's embodied in them rather than a script. And ultimately, you're actually coming up with a script. You're coming up with this formula that they're going to use over and over and over again until it's something that they possess as an empowered state. So now they practice saying no, and then you go, okay, now the third part is you're going to tell me, but I will do it later, Mom. Okay. So say, try that. Okay, I'll do it later, Mom. Okay, when else would you want to do your homework? Oh, I'll do it in the morning. Okay, try that. Mom, I'm going to do it in the morning. And you know, you can go through a couple of iterations and they might come up with silly things. Mom, I'm never going to do it. You go, okay, well, that's one way to go. And you let them sort of play with their language. And then you go right from the beginning in. Right, let's put all 3 of those things together. You're going to tell me what I'm going to say. Honey, can you do your homework? And you're going to say, Mom, you want me to do my homework? No, thanks. I'll do it later. You're brilliant. And then you let it go. Give them a high five, you give them a hug, you say, absolutely fantastic. Okay. And then you let it go. Then later on in the evening, you say something like, okay, it's dinner time, I want you to come to the dinner table. And they come off to the dinner table and you say, let's practice the no again. Now what you're doing is you're getting them to practice saying no when it doesn't count, when the stakes are so low, they're basically false, that they're not true at all. But the stakes are not high enough to elicit a nervous system response. Because often in a situation where your child needs to say no to somebody and the other person is not listening, it triggers a nervous system response in them and pushes them to the boundaries of their window of tolerance, possibly outside of their window of tolerance. And you want them to handle the conflict within their capabilities. You want them to build capability so they can handle the conflict without being pushed to their edge and causing a fight-flight response, nervous system breakdown, freeze response, whatever it might be, outside of that ability to tolerate. So you want them to be able to tolerate the conflict, and they can tolerate the conflict by practicing the skill when the stakes are low. So the next day you might practice it again, or you might leave it for a couple of weeks, and they might come home and say, hey, Mom, my best friend wanted me to climb to the very top of the jungle gym and I didn't want to. So I used the thing we practiced. And you go, well done. You give them a high five. I'm so proud of you. How did it go? Oh, well, he really listened. It seemed to work. Oh, no, he didn't listen. I don't know what went wrong. He go, oh my gosh, was he not listening? Okay, well, I'm sure you did it great. Maybe we can just practice some more. How did it go for you? What do you think you missed? What could you have done differently? And that conversation is a nice human conversation that only you know how to have with your child, based on their age, their temperament, the anxiety level, how they handle conflict, how they tolerate difficulty. You're going to start getting a sense of them and teaching them the skill so that they become empowered. And that's how you parent a child into the skill that you want them to have. It's not something you write down once. It's not something that a teacher teaches once on a board and the kid has it. No, it needs to be practiced, internalized, personalized, and then they eventually use it in their own way. And that's how we develop skill. It's practicing when the stakes are low, so that when the stakes are higher, it's already a known skill that they can go to. And then each time they practice it when the stakes are high, they just get better and better at it. And it's not to say that they get better at shutting the other person down with their no. It's they get better at handling the anxiety and the tolerance for the uncomfortable feeling in themselves. And they don't get sucked out of it into the other person's state of mind. That's the goal. The goal is for your child to slowly and confidently and intrinsically build up their ability to tolerate more in the world. Not tolerate as in I must tolerate you, but tolerate as in when things are crazy, can I breathe and can I live through it and can I process these crazy emotions without losing myself? And that's kind of the goal. I hope this helps.